Welcome back, everyone, to Talking It Out with Mike and Bryan. Very excited about today's show. Today's guest is a man we love and admire. You might know him from season 14 of The Bachelorette. He's an entrepreneur and also a former finance guy. He also just got engaged to our girl and former Bachelorette, Kaitlyn Bristowe. Today we have on Jason Tartick, and we're going to be having a conversation about navigating internet bullies and being a supportive partner. But first, you know how we do. We got to get into hot takes. So, Mike, let's take it away.
Yes, sir. Let's do it, man. Can't wait to have Jason on, by the way. I think of Jason. I've never met Jason in person, but I've called him like at least 10 times.
Really? That's funny.
Yeah, like never met the guy in person, but I give him a call, even just to say, how you doing? So
funny story, I actually caught him in Vegas when I was there like 2 weekends ago. He was there for his boys' bachelorette party. We ended up being at the same actual beach party, so it was pretty cool. We caught up, shot the shit for a little bit.
Small world.
Small world, man.
But no, my hot take for today, man, it goes into Jason and his fiancée, Kaitlyn, as well. I think that who give a damn what you do to your body? Again, if you get lip injections, if you get Botox, if you get some ass, if you get some tits, if you get, I don't really care. Like, that's you and your business. That's your prerogative, right? Bobby Brown made the song back in the day. It's my prerogative.
One of my faves.
Yeah, let it be that individual's prerogative. Now, I was reading through some of the hate Kaitlyn was getting, and one of the people had put, whether you like it or not, you are a role model, right? My boy Charles Barkley said it best. I am not your role model, right? Like, just because an individual goes on TV, that does not mean that they are supposed to automatically be that individual's role model. And guess what? Kaitlyn can be a role model if she still desires to, with getting whatever the hell she got done, lip injections, whatever the case may be, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think she does so many other great things and, such a good person. Otherwise, like, it shouldn't matter, what she does to her appearance physically. As long as she's happy with it, Jason's happy with it. That's all that really matters, and it's nobody else's business. I guess, we get thrown that line a lot of times where it's like, well, you're a public figure. You went on The Bachelorette or Bachelor, so you're basically open to being criticized on social media, and we can leave any comment we want because that's what they decide to do. And I think for me, it's like, I don't have it in me to go onto somebody else's page and criticize them over their appearance. Like, I would never do that. Like, that doesn't even cross my mind. But some people just decide to do that. And I think it's unfortunate.
I think that when we do go on The Bachelor and or a person goes on TV, for whatever the case, you have opened the floodgates, though. I ain't gonna front. I do believe that is to be the case. The more people know who you are, people are just gonna talk crap. My own homeboys talk crap about me all the time, right?
Yeah.
As I'm gonna do with them. If they go on The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, right? I'm gonna talk crap about them. That's a part of the game. What isn't a part of the game, though, is when that fun, shit talking goes into degrading someone.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's where the issue is. That's where we draw the line, right?
Yeah.
It's like, why are you coming at that the way that person's appearance is? Things of that nature, right? Like Carl from this season. I would love to meet Carl, but Lord have mercy, the way he's displaying himself on TV right now is hilarious to me.
Yeah, he's got some making up to he's got some making up to do because it's not representative on Miami, man. You gotta do better. But hopefully that's the thing. Like, I'm not gonna knock him too much because I've met people where maybe they get a bad edit or they just show their ass on TV and then after the fact they're totally cool. I mean, being behind the camera will make you do some crazy, dumb, stupid stuff sometimes. So I don't really hold it too much against them. I mean, unless it was something outrageously bad. But I mean, like back to the point about the plastic surgery. I mean, look at Khloe Kardashian. She had to go through something similar recently where I think on the reunion she basically had to come out to Andy Cohen about all the plastic surgeries that she's done, or the lack of plastic surgeries that supposedly everybody says that she had done. So she just came out and admitted it. I believe she said she had one nose job and the little fillers here and there. And it's like, it's sad that, you know, public figures like Khloe and, you know, Kaitlyn Bristowe have to come out and like let everybody know what exactly they've done when it's nobody's business, like you say.
Well, even if though, so let me be completely transparent about this topic. It's not no one's business, but at the same time, you are a public figure. People are going to notice a difference in the way that your appearance is, right? In the way that you look. We shouldn't be condemning those individuals. That's what they choose. I think a person can be, isn't the definition of a role model is to be genuine to who you are and be a good human?
Yeah, be real. Yep.
Like, isn't that what it is? So Kaitlyn can be a role model and say, and she's a role model for you know, having her own back and saying, yo, y'all are tripping. This is what I have. This is what I have not done.
Absolutely.
Right? Khloe Kardashian, in her own right, can be a role model to people, right? Yeah. It's when we say these terms role model, it's what we desire, what we individually deem as someone we would want to emulate.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be, you know, the outside appearance. I mean, if that's not your, you know, if that's not to your liking, then, you know, there's other parts to the individual. You know, there's the heart that they have, you know, the character, the integrity, the things they do for their community. I mean, there's so many other things that you could look at and see that person is a role model.
Definitely. We spoke about this on our sister station, Clickbait, when we're talking about is normally these women that are coming at other women when it comes to plastic surgery, when it comes specifically to that, because, man, we have our own issues that we have to work on. But when it comes to this, but the majority of the followers of Kaitlyn and the majority of the followers of Khloe Kardashian and these other Kardashians are women.
Yeah.
And yet the women are coming at them. What's your hot take, bro?
All right, man. So in the news recently, a little pop culture, Saweetie and Quavo. Quavo, he's on the Migos. Saweetie, beautiful rapper. They were together, I believe, for like 3 years. And during their relationship, I believe a couple. Yeah, that's what I read. I was actually shocked. I didn't know they were together for that long. Maybe not officially. You know, maybe they didn't make it official until later. But anyway, 3 years. He gifted her a customized Bentley. Like it was like a blue customized Bentley with like icy on the headrest and everything. So she showed a video at the time of her like gawking over the car. Oh my God. So it got me thinking, when they broke up, he actually reportedly had the car repossessed. And then in the song, he verified it because he said, what did she say? What did he say in the rap, the actual lyric? It was, she wanted it her way. Now she's out of a Bentley. So you could dig in all you want into that quote, but supposedly the reports came out that he repossessed the vehicle. So my thing is if you're in a relationship, maybe not married, but let's just say you're boyfriend, girlfriend, or you're getting engaged, like, is it cool for the guy or the girl, it could go both ways, to gift a significant other a gift, and then if they so happen to break up, to take it back? Is it cool or not?
What's your take?
I think it's petty. I think it's petty to do that. Like, me as a man, like if I gifted you something, I don't necessarily think like that happened during the relationship. What's gone is gone. Now, I do have a different take on, let's say, if it's an engagement ring, because it's like, I'm asking you to marry me. Like, this ring is specifically for you and our bond. But if we break up, I'm gonna need that ring back, right? I mean, if it's like a more of like a material gift that doesn't have any meaning, then that could stay with her. But then at the same time, what if she cheats on you, or what if the person cheats on you? Then do you take it back? Like, then do you have okay. So see, look, there's context. There's context to it.
It's levels to it as well. The ring, an engagement ring, without doubt, I'm taking that bad boy back. Period. I don't care what the situation was. I'm taking that engagement ring back because that signifies something more than like a material thing, like you said. Yo, Quavo, if you gave a girl a Bentley, first off, the Bentley, it costs what, $400K? It should be nothing to you. So like, just let her keep that. I think he would be in a higher regard if he didn't, try to, he's being petty, like you said.
Yeah.
It's just simply being petty. He trying to just show off. Just let her, bro, let her
What's
do her
crazy
thing.
is that she actually went ahead and got herself a banging Rolls Royce.
That's
and
what she should do.
Showed that off in the background after, I guess, her car was taken or whatever. So she's like, I can do the same thing.
That's how a real boss gonna do it.
Oh, yeah.
Male or female, that's a real boss right there. Like, you gonna take it back. I got my own money, baby. I'm gonna do it myself. I'm gonna pull up on my own stuff. So she did the right thing in that regard. He was the one tripping on that. And I think a lot of people have an issue. A lot of people that make loads and loads of money more than their spouse think they can get away with shit like that.
Yeah.
That's what that is. That's all that is. They think they can get away with stuff like that. That's why for me personally, whenever I get my partner for life, my lady for life, my wifey, I don't, even if she makes 10 times more than me, 100 times more than me, it cannot be about money. And if I make 100 times more than her, she needs to be able to be financially free on her own. Because that's that petty shit. That's just a egotistical money thing.
And speaking of petty, I mean, reportedly, according to her, he cheated on her. So you cheated on her and then you take the car back? I mean, he's getting blasted in the comments. All the females are coming out of the woodwork and just blasting him for being petty, which I think in this case, hey, bro, you just got to take that L, leave her with the car, and that is it.
That's a whole other topic in and of itself right there. We know Quavo, he a dog, right? And it don't matter. Women are still gonna roof, right? And women
just
are
like
still,
all his songs.
Yeah,
you hear that bark.
They tell you in the songs who they are, and women will still come at them. So therefore, they feel like they're being validated.
Yeah. Oh no, the women that come after, they're stroking their ego like, baby, you didn't do anything wrong. You had every right to do that. And it's like, they just want the same thing from you, bruh.
Exactly. So to him, it may just be a game. To him, it's just like, boom. I was faithful for, I don't know, 2 weeks, let's say, out of that 3 years. I have no idea. He might have been faithful the whole time for all I know. I don't know that gentleman personally, right? But I would assume he wasn't, based on some things that I've seen him do via IG, right? And that's just a whole game. It's just a game to me. He's petty as can be for that.
He fumbled the bag on that.
Me gifting someone something, it's not about the money, first off, because if I'm able to do it, then it's already done.
Yeah.
I'm able to do it. When I release a relationship, or when I am released from a relationship, I don't want shit to do with you when it comes to something that could be petty.
Especially if it ended bad. I mean, you just want to cut ties altogether.
If it's a petty situation, I don't want nothing to do with it. If we was amicable, then or had the possibility to still work something out, I still don't want nothing from you. Like, in that regard, I may want your respect and conversation. But let's talk to the homie, the one and only Jason Tartick.
What's up, guys? Look at the banter you guys got.
What's up, brother? You were listening on that?
Listening in on that. Chemistry here is off the charts.
We got to get your input.
Let's hear it.
All right. So
wait, Brian. Before we say this, this is Mr. Trading Secrets right here. This is the money man. So this is why it's gonna be pretty cool to hear his input on this one.
I love it. Bring it. Let's hear it.
Jason's gonna come all 100% logical.
So I don't know how much you heard, but we were talking about the situation with Quavo and Saweetie. They broke up recently. Prior to breaking up, while they were dating for about 3 years, Quavo gifted her a souped up, customized Bentley.
Okay.
They end up breaking up. Supposedly she was reporting that he was unfaithful. So a couple months later, the car is repossessed. And he kind of alluded to it in one of his lyrics. She wanted it her way. Now she's out of a Bentley. So reportedly, he repossessed the vehicle. Super petty on his part. What do you feel? Are there rules of engagement when it comes to you're in a relationship, you gift somebody? Should you take the gift back after you break up? And
Here's my take on that. If you're gifting something that's over, let's just say like a certain dollar amount, like $10,000.
Okay.
It's kind of on the recipient of it to also like kind of tighten it up a little bit. Like, whose name is this car in? Is it really my gift or is it under your name? Who's paying for it? Like, like contractually, it's technically his car.
The details are important.
The details are important. Also, like, what's his net worth? Do we know?
His net worth is over 10 million. Let's say he bought it.
Yeah, he's paid.
Cash.
Okay,
so
10 million.
It wasn't a big deal to buy her a Bentley. Let's just say that.
She cheated on him?
He cheated on her.
He cheated on her.
On her? And he wants it back?
He took it back.
Oh, that's kind of bullshit.
It's already on sale in a lot, like in San Diego. Like,
I mean, you were unfaithful to her, and then you're taking a gift back that you already gave her. That's like 2 strikes. Now, if she cheated on him, and he's like, you know what, a little spite, I want it back. I kind of see that.
Okay.
Even if she cheated on me, I don't want it back because I don't want nothing to do with your ass. Period.
Yeah, I get that.
Now, Jason,
ask him what you just asked me though.
Oh, okay. Well, I want to follow up with 2. For number 1 scenario, you guys break up. Now she's using the car to drive around her new man and is flaunting it all over social media. Do you become petty in that moment and do you take the car back?
I mean, probably.
It's
like, listen, you know what? That's under my name. I'm paying for it. Bring it back.
Yeah, under that case, I got to do it.
And what about something that has a very strong emotional attachment, like an engagement ring?
Oh, an engagement ring. That is a great transition. That's a pro podcaster right there. The engagement ring is given. It's theirs. It is a gift. Once it's given in front
really? Okay.
It's all theirs. Now, I would leave that decision up to the recipient of that ring. And if they want to give it back because they feel as though that is like the principle of the situation, they could do it.
I'm taking that one. Talking about engagement rings, congratulations on your engagement.
Yes, brother. Congrats,
Thank you,
man.
Guys. I appreciate it. It's been a really exciting couple months here. So I appreciate that, guys.
When was the moment that you just said she's the one? When was that? Tell me about that.
That's like a really good question. I think with Kaitlyn and I, like, you know, if everyone could like list off things that they want in a relationship, right? I could sit here for an hour, talk about like, you know, best friend and someone that love and caring and sweetheart, all this stuff, right? And Kaitlyn and I had all that. And I think what the biggest differentiator between Kaitlyn and I is like the one thing that made it click for me was like when we really could like actually communicate to one another. And I've had relationships before where we get in fights and then we'd get in the same fight 2 weeks later and the same fight and the same fight. And the thing with Kaitlyn and I think it happened over COVID, was like when we were in a discussion, we could sit back, come back to the table and be like, hey, this is where I screwed up. This is where I screwed up. How can we learn together like as a unit and like not let this repeat itself? And I've never had that maturity or that ability to like communicate and grow with someone. And so for me, that's when I hit it. Like, we have all that other stuff to last a lifetime. This is what actually can lead us to be great parents and grandparents and have grandkids and great grandkids and like support each other, not just through this crazy stage, which we're in, but in 10 years, 20 years, 40 years. And for me, that's when I was like, I always knew Kaitlyn and our chemistry and everything is fire. Our energy's great. But to make like a unit last a lifetime, those were some of the things for me that I was like, that's a life partner.
Just to take us back a little bit, Jason, like what did you know about Kaitlyn prior to meeting her? And then how did she exceed your expectations after you met her?
That's funny. Yeah. So my mom was like a big fan of the show.
Okay.
Here and there, I'd like watch it, but I didn't know the show well. So I didn't know like of Kaitlyn too much. But then once you get off the show, and you're not a fan or you're just not that involved with like who's who or whatever, you quickly learn, right? You guys can attest to that. Whether you know nothing about the show or everything, you get off, other people are reaching out to you. You're like, okay, that was the Bachelorette. And I remember the first time I saw like an action of hers as it was like one of her stories. It was like just after I got off the show, and she was like firing on all cylinders. She was like doing the moonwalk across the stage. I'm like, who? Like out of control. And I remember I texted one of my Canadian buddies, and he's like, oh, you don't know who Kaitlyn Bristowe is? Are you kidding me? And he's like, she's why? He like told me, broke the whole thing down. And then, you know, obviously Bachelor Nation, get to know people a little bit more. And when I met her, it was on her podcast when she was coming to Seattle. I would have been like better off if I didn't know who she was at that point, like 2 months before. Cause then I got like all nervous before that podcast. And I actually went to a bar and like ripped a few shots. I was like jittery for it. I was like, what the hell? I don't ever meet with these like CEO, CFO, don't give a shit. I'm meeting with Kaitlyn Bristowe and I'm like sweating over here.
That's when you know, man. Yeah.
That's
like
right.
Jason, I mean, Mike, you're going to find out soon enough when you find yours, but like, I couldn't agree with you more, Jason. I feel like for me in my situation, Rachel just had like an X factor. You know, she was a triple threat: brains, beauty, personality, great sense of humor. She was a professional. She had a career. Like everything on paper was top notch. Everything I could ever want in a woman, an engagement, and a wife, everything. But the thing is like she keeps me on my toes. Right? She challenges me to be a better man. And I feel like guys need that, right?
Yes,
like
yes.
even a little attitude. I feel like you need a little attitude. You can't just be a pushover for me. Like Drake said it in one of his songs. He said, a little attitude will make that shit last. Right? Sometimes you need a little feistiness to keep the flame going. She just keeps me on my toes, man. She does it for me. So
I love that, Brian. That reminds me too of like my mom and my dad. My dad has a strong personality. My mom is a firecracker. And I even told Kaitlyn the day that we podcasted, because I referenced a lot of the podcasts when I proposed to her, the first one, is I was like, I need someone to tell me to fuck off. Like what I meant by that was like, I need someone to like meet me in the middle and, you know, tell me like right versus wrong and balance me and like what you're doing too much of this. Like, I just need a unit where it's like 50-50 and we're partners. And Kaitlyn certainly brings that. And I can imagine Rachel does the same.
Yeah,
Y'all both have that. Y'all both have extremely strong women. And I always speak when people say, Mike, what do you like in a woman? It's the feistiness. Of course, I want all the other things as well, but you have to have a backbone. Like, I need you to come at me. Yeah. Tell me when I'm being a dumbass. And at the same time, if I need to be held, let me hold me. When you need to be held, let me hold you as well.
What's fascinating, Mike, is it's like, I get that. I think we all have pretty strong personalities, and we're also very attracted to those that have strong personalities. And like you said, it keeps us on our toes and keeps us fired up. But I could tell you, I have friends, and I know many of people that don't want that at all, that can't handle that balance. Their egos get in the way of, not feeling like they're good, like the I don't know, whatever it might be. It might be the person that's making the most money or that has the most power or the responsibility. And so I find it like fascinating, really what someone is looking for in someone else. But I just could have never imagined a partner like that. And similar to what you guys are saying, I want someone that's literally going to force me, that is going to absolutely challenge me in every single which way to be the best version of myself, but vice versa. Has to be willing to listen when I'm also am challenging that person to be the best person. And that is not easy to manage.
Yeah.
That's
maturity. That's maturity in the relationship when you both can do that.
You know, on Facebook, when it says, on 10 years ago, you said this on this day.
Yeah.
What I said then, and it still holds reign with me today. What I want is this very thing right here. I want my biggest cheerleader, and that person is my biggest competitor as well. Meaning they keep me sharp. They keep me on my toes. It's like, damn, you doing this too? Shit, I gotta get on my grind. You know.
I love that. But if you're
iron sharpens iron, man.
Iron sharpens iron. If you're going to want a cheerleader and you want a competitor, you also have to be a cheerleader.
Absolutely.
And the other thing is like competition, right? You know, competition in general, the most mature version of competition, without a doubt, is inspiration. That is the definition of mature competition. And that's exactly what you want. And I think we just solved the problem. Mike for Bachelor.
Outside of that,
we've been saying this.
I love you, Jason. Outside of that, that's kind of what today's topic is about right there. Navigating being in a relationship with not only a supportive person, but as men, having a strong woman in our life. And Jason, you talking about being a cheerleader as well. I want to give my hat off to you just for the way that you were showing up for Kaitlyn. I'm sure behind the scenes, and also what we all were able to see when she came, and won Dancing with the Stars and all the things you've done prior to that. I loved seeing that. Like you were jumping out your seat like you were watching a game, man. Like,
Was it the champagne? Was just
like, it was just everything.
the champagne everywhere. The scene that was epic. That was epic.
You know the funny part about that champagne is that champagne. I got to figure this out with Becca. Full circle. That was Becca's champagne. She just launched it. She sent it to us to like try and like help promote her. I didn't even know it, and I'm firing it off, like throwing it all over.
I'd be honored if I was her. Like that's like the perfect moment to actually debut that champagne. Amazing.
Yeah. And I think that, you know what, I think that celebration is like, it's two things, right? The same way I get excited for her successes or the same way you kind of feel for each other's pains. And it goes both ways. I think like if people are like, dude, did you lose your fucking mind when you were in, I don't know if I can swear, when you're in that apartment, like, did you lose your shit? Okay. Did you lose your shit? I'm like, no, dude, I just saw my better half, like the person I love to death, every single day coming home and just beat to shit mentally. Either she was crying, her feet had calluses. Like that was one of the most enduring shows and times I've ever seen. And to like see her like persevere through it all. I mean, everything, man. She had a COVID test that came back positive. It was done. And then we had waited a long period of time. It was a false positive. I mean, she could write a book on that whole journey. And to see her come out on top of it was just like electric. It was awesome.
Yeah.
It's amazing, man.
So Jay, obviously our women are successful, you know, incredible women as partners. What advice can you give out there to guys that, you know, maybe aren't used to being with a successful woman? Like, how should a guy approach that?
Yeah, I mean, I think step one is like, get over yourself. Get over your damn ego. So many people are leading everything with their ego. They can't handle the fact that their partner is getting the attention or is running, you know, the show right now or is killing it in every which way. And that is all ego driven. Look in the mirror. If you can't look at your partner, if you can't look at your inner circle, your best friends, your parents, your cousins, and see their success and not be happy for them and not encourage them, you have to dig within yourself to see what insecurities are really driving who you are and take care of yourself, because it's all ego. And I think that anyone that's fighting that needs to address it. And I get it though too, because like sometimes that's not an easy thing. But I think when you're confident and secure within yourself, it changes everything in the success you want for the people around you, especially a loved one. And I'll be self-aware here. You take me back like maybe 5-6 years ago, I'm probably not the same supportive person. I might be a little envious or jealous and not be able to cheer for other people's successes because I wasn't proud of mine. And I think the first thing is you got to fix yourself before you can start pointing fingers at anybody else.
Definitely so.
Yeah.
You talked about being supportive, you know, in comparison to who you were 5-6 years ago, being supportive. You know, when Kaitlyn, you know, she's a boss doing her own thing, but in those moments to where she is bullied online, how do you support her in those regards?
Yeah, it's a good question. So that's a tough one. Here's why it's tough, because I am not good at, when it comes to anything business related or sports related, if it was confrontation, I step right into it, especially business. I'm like a different human. Personally, I'm not good with confrontation. I'm just not. I'm always path of least resistance. Let's try and, you know, kumbaya. Let's try and make this good. Let's see each other's perspectives. Kaitlyn's not like that, right? And you got to applaud the hell out of her. She'll drop the mitts with anybody, and it doesn't matter. She'll put them on blast. And so I've gone back and forth with this because there are times that I'll tell Kaitlyn, you know what? There's so much good coming your way. Why do you have to isolate and call out the little bad? That's 2 to 10% of all the good in your life because of this. And she can't help but relentlessly be herself. And herself is calling people out when they are doing things that are wrong so that people can learn from it. And so when we first started dating, I was like, what the hell are you doing? It's just noise. Ignore it. Now I actually see the good in it, because there are so many times she calls someone out, but she doesn't do it maliciously. She does it with a principle. Like, if you're attacking my looks, yeah, guess what? This is what I have done to change my looks. And here's why. I actually have some deeper issues with it. Why do you feel as though putting me on blast on the internet is the way to handle that? And the amount of times, I'll tell you, behind the scenes, I've seen those people reach directly back out to her and apologize and tell them it's a learning lesson and saying, I never thought of that perspective. I'm blown away. So when you see things like that, initially you're like, Kaitlyn, just stop, like enough, right? but she can't help but be herself. She wears her heart on her sleeve. And I will tell you, more often than not, I think when she calls these bullies out, it's a great time to take ownership, self-reflect, and see like what every person could do better to be better. And I think that's her intention, honestly.
Honestly, Jay, like Rachel's the same way. I mean, post show, I was kind of like, she was the clapback queen, right? Yeah. She would just clap back at people, and it's like, babe, just ignore them. Like, just because I feel like if you give them energy, I mean, you're bringing something to life that should have never have been alive. You know what I mean? And it's crazy that you say that about the people. Like, people write the most disgusting, vile stuff to her, and she'll actually respond, you know, not disrespectfully or anything like that, but she'll respond with, you know, she's a lawyer, so she'll hit her back with the facts. Like, how was I doing this? How was I doing that? Like, the person doesn't even answer back with the responses, and instead they respond with, oh my God, I love you. I didn't think you would respond. And it's like, how did you just say what you just said that was so malicious, and then just totally flip like, oh my God, I'm sorry, I didn't think you would respond? Like, that just boggles my mind sometimes.
Sometimes they just want attention.
Yeah, that's sure. I imagine that's what it is.
At times, it's definitely attention. And you know, Jason, when you were just speaking, because I love one, Bryan, you said Rachel's a clapback queen, because that's just, I love that name. I think that's like a compliment. If I were, you know, for her, I believe. But Jason, when you're talking about that, and you know, Kaitlyn's been in the news because of her looks and how people have come at her. You know what's so funny is that if she would have said, hey, I got lip fillers, it makes me feel good, people would have applauded that, right? Mm-hmm. But since she didn't speak about it, it's almost like, oh, why did you do this now, right? It's crazy to me how we as people, based upon, if someone says it, it's like, oh, that's cool now. But if I choose to just not speak about some shit, it's now could be considered a bad thing. When it's the action was the exact same, right? The end result was still the same. It's this society, it baffles me sometimes, like the psychology of how things work.
Do you feel like the audience feels like, oh, they're trying to hide something rather than
it's her
just
life,
come out?
Though.
Exactly. No, I totally agree. Whatever she wants to divulge in the public eye, that's her prerogative and her prerogative only. You know what I mean? Like, Jay, I don't know, Jason, I don't know about you, but like me and Rachel, I would say we're not the most open Bachelor couple out there. You know, I think a lot of other people, you know, give more of themselves in their daily lives, but you know, we just like to we're a little bit more private, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I think the other people out there should respect it.
Yeah, I think having a common understanding of like where you are with that relationship and like what you'll put out and what you won't is a really important thing.
Yeah.
As far as other people respecting, I think that's probably one of the most challenging things in this space. I don't ever want to sit here and play victim, because going on The Bachelorette has changed every single aspect of my life for the good, financially,
Correct.
Professionally, and who I'm engaged to. However, when you're in the public spotlight like this, there's a lot of kind of noise that comes with it. Like, people, you're gone for a weekend and people are like, well, where are you? Like the constant, how did you guys break up? What's going on? Why'd you fight? I didn't like the tone that you used in this one podcast. You might have an off day. It's nonstop. And to say that some of that noise can't bleed into your relationship is bullshit. Anyone that says that is lying to you. The job is to try and manage that. But to say that to at least generate a conversation is kind of almost, I think, impossible. Now, going back to your point, Mike, I think when you have this platform, or maybe you are hosting a show, or you do have people that are listening to you, because you have a platform, if one person's listening or millions of people are listening, there's responsibility that comes with that for sure, right? And I think if people want to ask questions about like, hey, I look up to you. I see that you use filler. I see that you wear it. I see that you do this. Can you explain to me? I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I think
there's nothing wrong with that, but that's how
explaining. Yeah, I think explaining like, hey, you know what? I don't feel good about my upper lip. And maybe, you could see a little of I'm making this up. You could see a little of my gum line. And when I get that injection, I feel like a confident person. When I'm a confident person, I give back better to the people around me.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
The attacks are just like crazy.
That's it directly. That's it exactly. If Kaitlyn said that, we're using her as the example because she's a badass, she can take it, right? But if she were to say that, what you said, hey, audience going IG live or whatever, I'm getting lip injections because, you know, I like the way it looks on me, right? 90% of that, 95% of that would be overwhelmingly positive. But since a person doesn't say something, they just keep it on a, like, not even private, but just, it's not your damn business. It automatically has a higher negative result. Like, that's just crazy to me that that's the way it is. But I want to divert into, because, you know, you are fresh engaged, and just ask, like, about also culture now, because we're also talking about culture. What are those gender roles like? Is there traditional gender roles, or like, tell me about that side of you guys?
Yeah. So real quick, one thing I got to just revisit, and I'll go back to that, is that Kaitlyn is a badass, right? And she can handle it. But I think it's also important to know that that stuff, like, does materially impact her. There are times that people, you know, she'll be reading tweets and people will be saying, like, you know, nasty comments about her looks, and most of them, again, are positive, but there are times she'll be in tears in bed. Like, that stuff hurts. It feels. And you would think, Kaitlyn, you've been doing this for 6 years. It's still, you can't help the way that someone, you know, comprehends an attack at them. And I think it's real to know that there are many times behind closed doors, you know, Kaitlyn feels that, and she is very hurt by that. And obviously I'm hurt when she's hurt. So I do think it's important to know she's tough, but also that stuff is real and it does impact the emotions. Okay. So with the gender roles and like the traditional gender roles, you know, what's interesting is I've talked about this a lot, and I hate to beat it up, but I did grow up in a household with 2 different religions and 2 different political views. You know, my mom is Jewish and liberal. My father's Catholic and conservative. I was introduced to 2 religions. I was introduced to 2 political views, and I have 2 parents that have always worked full time and that are both kind of like opinionated and strong-willed and independent. So my whole life I've always seen this like unit be able to discuss things, resolve issues, but work in tandem. And they've been married for over 35 years and they're happy. So that's kind of what I expect from my partner. So even when you say like gender roles, I have to ask, like, some of that I don't even know. Like, tell me specifically, I guess, maybe what type of gender.
Like, well, I was just going to bring up an example, like in the Latin culture, for instance, like men have been taught to be the head of the household, provide, protect, and basically lay a solid foundation for the family. And the role of women usually is consisted of, you know, tending to the responsibilities of the house and caring for the kids. So, you know, now in today's world where, you know, women are stepping up more than ever and being recognized for it. I mean, they've been stepping up for a while, but, you know, now it's finally coming to light, like women in the workplace, making more money than men. Like, we're talking about those specific gender roles. Like, how do you, like, your woman is successful. You know what I mean? She may even make more money than you. Like,
she does.
Some men can't handle that. So like, how do you navigate that?
See, I mean, first and foremost, I think like when you're saying some of these things, I think it's fucking awesome that she's doing what she's doing. I think it's so great that she's so passionate about what she does and she's kicking ass and she's doing it. I think that, and I mean this like genuinely, I think that women are like slowly taking over the world, as they should. Right now, if you look at every metric, if you look at, you know, male versus female, who's sitting on boards of directors for like at top S&P 500 companies, it's predominantly men, but it's starting to shift. Wage gap starting to shift. Amount of people, male versus females, asking for raises on an annual basis, starting to shift. Women are now getting married later because of fortunate things like science. You can have a, you know, you can be fertile later. There's things that you can do. And like, I think the independence and strength coming from like the female side of the house is fucking awesome. I support it. I think it's so cool. And I think the cool thing that Kaitlyn does is while she's doing it, she has all these females, 18 to 34, which is her predominant demographic, that she can like advocate to, like, go out there, take care of yourself, take care of your financials. When you have independence, strength, and success, you dictate everything. So I think it's great. I support it. And I think every household's different, right? For Kaitlyn and I wake up like literally when I'm up, Kate, I have my businesses. She has her businesses. We're both living our dream, but whatever, anything I can literally anything I could do, whether it's financial analysis, operational management, negotiating contracts, I can do to push her ahead, to help her. I view it as a win for both of us. So, and there's also gonna be different stages. I know once she has kids, she wants to pull back a little bit. And so it's just gonna be fluctuation.
And then you take over. It's like you guys are a team, you know what I mean?
Like, that's how I see it. And we're both fortunately doing really well in our respective areas right now. And I don't think in my opinion, I don't look at it as a competition. I look at it as like, imagine, you own a business, you and your business partner are both like if your other business partner is doing great, that also helps you. Why would you not want to push for each other's success? I had just had a podcast with Kevin Lear. I love what he said because he's obviously a big money guy. And he said that through all the research he's done, infidelity is not what ruins relationships. What ruins relationships is marriage. I'm sorry, it's money. Is money.
I'm like, what? You're about to get a whole lot of people in trouble there.
He said what ruins relationships.
Edit that out. What ruins relationships?
Leave it in.
What ruins relationships is money. Sorry, marriage
is money. And he said like the three things that in a marriage, it's you, it's your partner, and it's money. And that is like a really big important factor that he talks about. And I think like if you as a whole are successful and you're talking about these things and you're on the same page, it's only going to generate success as a unit, I think.
Yeah, I think
the number one thing that ruins relationships by far.
Yeah, no, I was just going to chime in. I mean, what we were talking about earlier, I mean, I just think it's a big, it's insecurity on the man's part. Like, I just think if you're a confident man who knows himself, isn't jealous, you and your partner know that you have each other on lock. Like, you want nothing more than to see that woman flourish into the woman that she was meant to be, right? Because that's only going to make you a better man. And in her doing all that, that's just going to raise your level and game up there. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to want to aspire to do the great things that she's doing. It's like, why would you want to hold down your partner when that's going to hold down you in the long run?
Do you think it's ego driven? Like, can you think of any other reason or people that it's not strictly ego?
Yeah, I think it's ego and insecurity, honestly. I mean, I think that is,
well, this falls under the category of ego, but having that tradition.
Pride.
Yeah, pride, but pride falls under ego. So I understand, Jason, it does fall under, but I would say it's its own subset in a way. Like, I can see that man saying, this is what my mom did in the relationship. This is what my dad did, right? I bring home the bacon, you cook the bacon type of situation,
Mm-hmm.
And so in my household growing up, like all women, I had to go plant trees, wash dishes, and get on top of the roof and cut down trees and stuff as well. Like male, quote unquote, male and quote unquote women chores. I was doing both of those chores in the household. And so I don't have that per se, but I can see someone saying, well, this is a tradition. You're going to stay home all day and do X, Y, Z. And I personally, if that individual is cool with that, I don't have an issue with it. If you're cool with that, as long as you're happy in your relationship, right? You're not being disrespected or anything like that. But, bro, I cannot let you go without hearing, because you just said something right there. You said Kaitlyn wants to be, she wants to stay home and pull back a little bit once you guys start having kids. So when are we expecting?
That's the golden question. I don't know.
Rough estimate.
Listen, if I have a perfect timeline, I would love to get married first. So I didn't realize how long planning a wedding takes. It takes some time. So
how old are you, Jason?
What's that?
How old are you again?
I'm 32.
32, okay.
32. So get married, and then I would like to, I've said it once, I'll say it again, the day we get married, I'm ready to go full speed. That would be a perfect scenario. You know what I mean? Perfect scenario.
10 months down the line, well, we got a kid. So what is that? What is the ideal? We're looking at 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, what's the ideal ratio, boys and girls?
Tell me all of it, man.
I think the perfect case scenario is you have twins and one's a boy and one's a girl. I think realistically, if we have the fortune of having two babies and healthy babies, and we're Kaitlyn's able to have babies and everything else, because obviously there's always hurdles that so many couples have to undergo.
Very true.
The ideal scenario would be have, I guess, 2 kids, 2 healthy babies. As far as boy girl, I genuinely, I know that sounds weird. I think most people are like, I don't want a boy. I don't really have a huge preference. If I said perfect scenario, I'd say maybe a girl and a boy. In order, I don't care.
Yeah.
What about you, Mike? I want to know about you.
How about you, Mike?
Well, damn, first of all, I got to get a girlfriend. Like,
Why aren't you on
hypothetically
Paradise?
speaking? Yeah, seriously.
Shouldn't you be on Paradise? Go get the guy a date card. Let's get this going.
Go get the damn guy. Go get the guy a date card.
Do you have a crush in this Bachelor world or what?
Who's doing the podcast?
Oh shit! Okay.
Hey,
Like I said, you got
the
a
tea
crush?
can come. The tea can come from both sides, Mike. Come
We
on
just
now.
haven't caught up in a while. I was curious.
No, I was. It's funny you say that, Jason. I was telling Brian, we've never met in person, but I call you from time to time. Just
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
genuinely-
We're boys. We like. I would say there's people in the world in this like world. You definitely like call for like support and just to like get ideas. And definitely, Mike, you and I are one of those people. And Brian, I would say the same.
We saw each other in Vegas a couple
Vegas,
weekends
man.
ago.
The shit we're like 300 yards behind chain smokers talking about like business and finances while people are like
Fist pumping. Oh man, that was great.
I learned yesterday talking about, you said twins are possibly, out of per 1,000, there's 12 twins. There's 12 out of 1,000 that are twins, right? There's a small town in Nigeria. They have the largest population in the entire world. They're at 158 out of 1,000. It's crazy.
Wow.
It's crazy.
wild.
158.
That's a fun fact of the day. I like that.
Yeah, fun fact of that was, sometimes we all just have random knowledge, random useless knowledge. That's my useless
Mike,
knowledge.
can I revisit one thing you said that's just like staying up here and I can't get out of it?
What's up?
Is the thing when you said about like some people like when you bring home the bacon and cook the bacon. Like I think that's like I think you nailed it. It's like that's totally fine. If both people are like, this is what I want to be a mother. I want to stay home.
Yeah.
But I think the big thing like that needs to change if it hasn't changed is staying home as like a mother or whatever
As a father.
role it is. You're still equals. You still have roles that you're contributing
Very
to the
much
unit.
so.
And it shouldn't be measured in dollar signs. It could be measured in responsibilities and things like that. And that's what has to change. Because in my opinion, like who cares like who's work? Just because you're working doesn't mean that the person at home that's developing your children every day and taking care of them doesn't have the same responsibility, if not more.
I say quite honestly a bit more in mine.
And isn't that a conversation that needs to be had between the man and the woman? Like, let's say the man is the stay-at-home dad.
Sure.
Like, shouldn't they be speaking about, okay, as the woman is like, I believe, husband, you provide value into the relationship. Like, let's figure out ways where you could actually feel valuable. Because at the end of the day, what we were talking about was the man feels insecure. And I mean, I just wanted to bring up this stat because I was like doing some research on it.
Yeah.
In 2018, the research from the U.S. Census Bureau, 1 in 4 heterosexual married couples, women make more than their male partners. But a new study from the University of Bath suggests that this trend is impacting a male partner's mental health. So men are struggling with the idea that women are making more.
Is it because men have used dollars as a definition to define leverage rather than words and communication? They think that because they make the money, they can have the power. What I say is right. And
it goes back to what we
know how
said
to
earlier.
communicate.
It goes back to what I said earlier in regards to your hot
Culture.
take, Brian, when it comes to Quavo and Sweet Saudi or whatever her name is.
Sweetie.
Sweetie, my bad. It goes back to them too. When he decided to take it back, it was a ego thing when it came to money. He valued his side of the relationship, his strength. He felt it came from the money aspect when that should not be the case. It should not be. If I date someone who is worth $100 million, I'm still going to feel like an equal partner in that relationship. I might not be paying the mortgage. Let's just be honest. I might
or many other things, but
I might pay the phone bills,
but no, that's my point. It's like, okay, as a man, like rather than be like, shit, I don't make as much money to her and like be bitter at the woman, like what other ways can you step up in the relationship? Like you can even have communication and talks with your partner and be like, look, this is the way I feel. I kind of feel a little bit down on myself because I grew up in a culture where boys were never crying. We were never being vulnerable, but instead all we learned and had ingrained in us from a young age was be the breadwinner, be the provider, support your family. And then the fact that I'm not doing it now, it makes me feel a little, have a little bit less of self-esteem. But that's where I feel like that communication is key, where you guys can, help each other out and uplift each other emotionally as well.
So
For sure.
This is a whole different episode that we will definitely have to speak on, Brian. We can bring you back, Jason, if you'd like to speak on this. I'd love to have you. Yesterday, actually, was Men's Mental Health Day. And it spoke on the fact that men are, I think, 3 times as likely to commit suicide. Men don't go and seek help. Don't speak out about situations, right? And white men in particular are the ones that do commit the suicide, and it comes back to unable to provide financially, so they feel like they have almost lost.
Wow.
In a sense, when that's sad, right? That's just a whole pandemic that we need to unravel right there. Because if you are solely basing your aspect within a relationship off of finances, now, side note, don't be no broke ass dude out here trying to get a baddie. Back, you can't be a penny out here looking for a dime, right?
There's levels. There's levels to this.
Like, I'm trying to make sure, we got to balance it out, right? But with that being said, at the same time, it's sad that as men associate their money that strongly with committing suicide because they feel like they don't make enough in comparison to the next man.
That's so devastating.
How much is social media? How much has social media contributed to that? Because all you see is, people flaunting this stuff on social media, seeing that every single day. I mean, that can mess with your mental.
Hey, when I was a financial advisor, I'm sure Jason as well, in your background, I would call those individuals thousandaires. You could pay $1,200 for your Ferrari and or your Lambo and be living in an $800 a month apartment.
I found that at Dancing with the Stars, I found that the most fascinating. We were at an apartment in Hollywood, which is a really nice apartment, but everyone's renting there. And the cars that would pull up, I'm not kidding. I mean, all $250K plus. I'm like, why the shit are you probably leasing this car? You should go buy real estate. Why are you renting? Like, what's happening here?
They need to get with you on the financial end because they're not making smart decisions there, Jay.
I'll tell you what, man.
Jason had me on, event center space is actually giving a return of 5 times a traditional rental space. Right?
Sure. Oh yeah, events and heating and cooling, like big cooling storage units is a big one too.
Breaking bed right now.
Yeah,
I don't want to get into the financial.
I
love the financial talk.
We'll do it. We'll have you on my podcast. We'll talk all about it.
I'll just sit down and take notes.
It's just where it's at. But Jason, man, we loved having you on today. Just last words. Confess your love for my girl Kaitlyn. You just hear it one time.
You want me to hear me confess my love for Kaitlyn?
We need to hear it.
Have I not done this enough? No, I mean, I'll give it to you. I think so excited for her to be obviously the co-host of the new season. It's another chapter in her book. I think one of the coolest things about Kaitlyn is the way that she can manifest something and then take her experiences in life, whether it's good or bad, whether it's literally hitting rock bottom, what she did in her late 20s, living off people's couches in her parents' extra bedroom, to now thriving with her own private label wine on the shelves of Walmart. It's amazing. And through all those experiences, the coolest thing is she's humble enough and real enough to take each learning lesson, apply them to anyone out there. So I love the way she empowers. I love what she's doing. It's fun to see her back on the show, not revisiting any of her other seasons. And you know what? For her, the sky's the limit. So I'm excited to see what else she'll accomplish.
And you know why the sky's the limit, Jason, is because you're in her life as well. And she's going to do bigger and better things because of you as well. You guys are a team, and I love to see it.
I appreciate that, guys. Oh, guys, what a fucking kumbaya session. I'm ready to go take over the world right now.
Let's do it. Jason, man, we love having you. Until next time.
Thank you so much, brother.
Thank you guys so much. Take care.
Jay, he's such a genuine, intellectual human being, and you could see how much love there is for his woman, Kaitlyn.
Oh, definitely. He's just down to earth, man. Just down to earth, trying to make a positive in this world, and loves his ladies to the fullest, and he shows that and supports that. And like we all learned from today, take your ego out of the situation.
Now, set your pride to the side, man. At the end of the day, the more you love your woman, the more you support her, the more
you get in return.
The more encouragement you give her to do bigger and better things and make more money. Like, I want my woman to make more money than me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
well, I ain't gonna front. I low-key have said this before to Connor. And I was like, yo, I can't wait till I have my lady, because I'm gonna do tenfold comparison to what I'm doing now, right? Because I'm gonna have someone that's gonna push me, and I'm gonna push them, and it's like it truly is your best friend. And I'm happy that you have Rachel, that Jalen has Kaitlyn. You know, I'm gonna get my lady. She out there. You feel me? You know what I'm saying?
We'll find her, Mike. We'll find her.
Yeah, we all good.
And of course, to all of our listeners, we absolutely love you. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode.
Definitely so. And we know, we love to hear your opinions, your stories, and your insight. So please don't forget to like, comment, follow. Message us on social at Talking It Out BN. That's Talking It Out, B as in Bachelor, N as in Nation on IG, Facebook, and Twitter. And as always, baby, don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're listening to right now. And don't DM me no more. I don't care how fine you are. I don't care how driven you are until you subscribe. I love you.